So finishing off 2024 and at the same time starting 2025 off with a bang, Nissan and Honda have merged together along with Mitsubishi. Okay, that is significant big news, and I'm excited to share with you that I think going forward Nissan is going to be a brand that's going to be hard to compete with, and I think basically both Honda, Nissan, and as well Mitsubishi going to be competing with each other on the models they're going to be producing, as well as borrowing each other's money, because that's basically how mergers work in what I think, in my opinion, that's how they work. Now, let's go look at why Nissan has failed. Pretty simple, actually. If you look at it from a car guy perspective, not as a global economicist perspective, but as a car guy perspective, Nissan really just has boring cars. I'm telling you, really boring. They got boring, ugly SUVs. Here's some. And they got boring sedans. I'm sorry. They're not the early 2000s and the late 90s sedans. They got boring Altimas, boring Maximas, boring Sentras. Basically, all the good can come out of here is Altima Energy, but they also got reliability issues with their trucks, especially the Nissan Titan with their Cummins engine. They got transmission issues. And the only good thing that they have is the 400Z. No, the Nissan Z. The Nissan Z. That's the only good thing they got out of there. And even then, it's overpriced. Who's going to pay for an overpriced car? The main issues why their cars are not selling is for the fact not only that they're boring, other than the Nissan Z. There's no such thing as the 400Z. The Nissan Z. Which, as a matter of fact, why it's not selling is even though the MSRP from the factory is $42,000 and some change, the actual listing price, yeah, you can expect to pay anywhere from $55,000 to $60,000+ when you buy it from the dealership. As a matter of fact, there's quite a few cars that you can buy that are faster and cheaper than that. Oh yeah, there is. By the way, do not spend your money on a Nissan Z. Wait until someone uses it and then buy it, because that's just a big chunk of waste of money. And also, why nobody wants to buy their cars is reliability issues. Yes, reliability issues on the Nissan Z. Basically same block as the Infiniti Q50 and Q60 with the VR30 motor. They do tend to have turbo issues, porous blocks, and etc, etc. Now, they worked out some of these issues, and they're a lot more reliable than the first-gen VR30s, but still, they're not as reliable as the B58 BMW motor. And sadly, I own an Infiniti Q50, which I enjoy, and hopefully it'll be reliable for me, but also reliability on the transmissions. Almost every single model in their lineup uses the most boring, most dumbest transmission ever known to mankind, the CVT transmission. I'm sorry. Their CVTs compared to like Lexus and Toyota are trash. The Nissan CVT transmission, which can be also found in the Infiniti model lineup, is absolutely trash and unreliable. I know some people that have went through it and replaced an entire transmission, which can be upwards of $15,000, okay? And every 50,000 or even 30,000 miles, you got to do a transmission flush no matter what, because these transmissions are just that unreliable. If you don't do transmission flush in your Nissan Altima, I'm sorry, you're not going to make it past 100,000 miles before it goes kaput. Now, a quick word from why Mitsubishi is failing. Simply for the fact that you do not ever make an SUV and call it the Eclipse. The Eclipse is a car, okay? You do not. Now, from that aside, they also got boring vehicles. Boring vehicles with CVT transmissions, yeah, they're reliable, but nobody wants to buy Mitsubishi because they're just boring. They got only 2-3 cars in the line. I don't know. They got very little cars in the lineup. They're struggling to have a dealership up around anywhere. They're just super unreliable. Mitsubishi from the late 90s and early 2000s went downhill, and good thing they found somebody to merge with. Now, going back to Nissan. They did have a Nissan GTR, but for the longest time, from like 2009 to 2024, it's the same thing. They have not changed the design. Yeah, they put a little aesthetic features because it's modern era. You got to modernize something, but it's the same thing. It's an R35. We have not even had an R36. Yes, they teased us with this one futuristic GTR, but it was a concept, and it never came true and never became an R36. I'm sorry, but if you don't provide people something new, something more interesting, you keep the same old lineup, same old, eventually people are going to stop coming to you, and they're really not going to want to buy it. Same thing goes for Infiniti. Because Nissan owns Infiniti, well, now Honda and Nissan are a merger, and so is Infiniti, and is mixed into this. As far as I know, they only got like 2 or couple lineups, and they're all SUVs on Infiniti. Infiniti has only SUVs available for 2025. That's it. They don't have no more Q50s, no more Q60s. And to make things worse, if you look at a Q50 and a Q60, especially the Q50, from 2014 to 2024, same thing. They have never changed the design of a Q50. Yes, like I said again, they added a few aesthetic features. You cannot put certain body parts on a 2014 that came from a 2019 or vice versa. But if you look at it, they all look the same. Nothing has been updated. Everything has been the same, including the engine. Yeah, they maybe have improved the turbo to be more reliable, but everything has been 100% the same. So far, one of the plans is the merger could possibly help produce electric cars from Honda. But also what I'm hoping as a car guy will happen. Nissan starts build better cars. They will start building better cars, better transmissions, better looking cars, because they're really ugly out there, and more fun to drive. And also, Honda will revive Nissan. I mean, not Nissan, Infiniti. And Infiniti should be pumping out some crazy looking cars, because they had a bright future going ahead, and all of a sudden they stopped, and now they're pretty much almost dead. As a matter of fact, before this merger, Nissan only had about a year just of money to stay afloat in business. That's how bad they were. Without this merger, they would be dead. They would not exist. And as a matter of fact, Infiniti dealerships are consolidated and becoming Nissan dealerships. Nissan's basically adding another manufacturer to, like Nissan dealerships are adding another manufacturer to their Nissan dealership. They're adding Infiniti, because standalone Infiniti dealerships are just not working out. People are not buying the cars. With that being said, Nissan has a way better future being with Honda than them being by themselves, because they were totally going in the wrong direction, and they would end up being bankrupt either way. Without Honda, they would be bankrupt. There would be no chance of them surviving, especially with the product they're reducing. But now being merged with Honda, I think it's going to be a win-win situation for them, and they will start competing with Honda competing with Infiniti and Nissan and Mitsubishi, all competing with each other using the same cash flow, essentially, and making cars that are worth it for the people, for the car guys, for the general public. Not canceled. Guys, I'm Eddie B. 2004 Turn right. This particular package, drive an attempt on the 6 Series.